odds ain't looking too pretty, but I got the feeling it's my time.
All right, here we go.
I know I'm taking it now.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the Retirement Learning Lab, where we help you to learn how to retire without running out of money. My name is Van Richards, and welcome to the broadcast this afternoon. We're broadcasting at a little different time. We had a little bit of a technical difficulty this afternoon, but we're going to jump right into the discussion today. We're talking about building a retirement income floor and using Social Security with that. The idea of building a retirement income floor it's a pretty simple concept. And there's really no textbook explanation of it, but the concept is that you want to make sure that your essential income is taken care of, that it's guaranteed, that it's going to be ironclad and no matter what. So we'll go through a couple of different concepts and talk about some different sources that goes along with that, building that income floor as well as we go along today. Now, I remind you, since we are doing a live broadcast today, that if you have questions, if you're joining us on Facebook, just enter your questions in and I'll see them over here. I'll be glad to take a little time and answer them. If you're joining us on Twitter, Periscope, be sure that you enter your questions in there as well. And if you're over on YouTube Live, make sure that you enter your questions in there. And if you're on YouTube Live, you might see some of our other broadcasts. There might be some other very interesting information about retirement planning that you might like to learn about. The other thing is, if you like what you see today and you would like to get more information on future broadcasts, be sure that you go over to YouTube Live and you subscribe and you hit the bell and you make sure that you are alerted every week when we broadcast. But we'll be broadcasting. The idea is every Tuesday at 11 o'clock. Today's a little different, but most days it's going to be at 11 o'clock on Tuesdays. So let's get right into the idea of retirement income planning. Retirement income planning, it goes, I want to bring it back to a concept that I think everybody can relate to. Take a look at this just for a second, if you would. Remember elementary school when you got lunch? A cookie was great. Chocolate milk was a bonus. And ice cream, an ice cream bar, oh man. But if you went hungry, it wasn't a very good day at all. The idea is that $2.50 that you spent every day for lunch when you were in school, or that's about how much children spend today when they go back to school, let's put it that way. We all know the coronavirus has made things kind of crazy. But when they go back to school, they're spending that $2.50 a day, $12.50 a week, $50 a month. That's essential money. That's important. If they don't have food, there's a lot of the insecurity that goes along with that. Think about that for just a moment. If you're a child and you don't have food, you have insecurity. If you're an adult and you don't have the essentials of your life, you don't have food, shelter, or medical care, those are so important. That's the idea behind retirement income planning. Let's go back to that example just for a moment of the kids getting lunch. When you got lunch and you were in school, did you ever think that what it would be like if you didn't have lunch? How would it make you feel? Or maybe you skipped lunch one day. You might have felt a little bit unhappy. In our house, we call it hangry, when people get a little bit angry and hungry at the same time. But the idea too is that if you knew that you just didn't know where your next meal was going to come from, there would be a lot of insecurity. It might not make you feel very good. I'm sure it wouldn't make you feel good at all. But once you get that essential requirement, it helps you to feel safe and secure. Now, if you were able to get a cookie or chocolate milk, that's great. But did it really add that much to your safety and security that the basic lunch did? That money that you spent in the very beginning, that $2.50 a day, that is the money that is for your utility. That has the highest utility. That's the most important money that you can spend. If you're spending money like that, The idea is when you get ready to retire, you want to make sure that you have the basics that are taken care of. The highest utility money is going to be that money that you use to pay for certain things that are really important, to pay for these particular things.
I can see the sun, I'm rising up, I feel the love now. Oh, it's in my vision. Oh, it's gonna take me a little while just to get my head around this moment.
If you've got enough money in your retirement to pay for your housing, your food, your medical care, that's your basic needs. In retirement income flooring, what we try to help people do is to set money aside and guarantee that that's going to be available to them. Now, when we blend in the idea of Social Security is not something that's going to pay for everything. If we look at the average income of an American today, it's about $59,000. That's what the average salary is. That's about $4,800 a month. Compare that to what the average Social Security check is. The average Social Security check is going to be about $1,500 per month. Now, it varies from state to state. Some may be a little more, some may be a little less. I know in Texas, I think it's $1,497, but nationwide, it is about $1,500 a month. Well, the difference between $4,800 and $1,500 is a big spread. It's about 70% difference. So if you're going to retire and you're accustomed to spending $4,800 a month and you've only got $1,500, you have a lot to make up in there. Now, all of that $4,800 is not what we would call high utility money, like the $2.50 that was spent on lunch. That's high utility money. The other money that you're going to have for your housing, your income, your food, and for your medical care, on average, that's going to run about $3,000 a month. So if you've got $1,500 in Social Security, you need to think of where you're going to be able to come up with that extra $1,500 a month, just basically to take care of the essentials. Now, a lot of people, if you don't have a lot of income in other different sources, one of the best ways that you can build up your Social Security is by continuing to work and delaying taking that Social Security. We're going to talk about that in just a moment, but I want to clarify the point on the income and how it relates to your overall income in itself. When we're trying to build up and we've got the $1,500, now we're looking for other sources to get to the next $1,500. That money, do you really think that you want to take a lot of risk with it? I probably would think not. I relate building income flooring to this. Take a look.
Don't give up. Don't give up. What's true?
You might remember from Christianity the parable that Jesus told on the Sermon on the Mount when he talked about building a house, and he talked about the foolish builder and the wise builder. The foolish builder built their house on sand, and when the storms came, it washed it away. The wise builder, when they built their house, they built it on a rock, and when the storms came, it weathered the storms. Now, in this particular parable, Jesus is really talking about himself as the rock that you need to depend upon him. And I love the comparison to retirement income, not to say that money is equal to Jesus. Please don't take me as that. This is just a comparison between importances. The idea is that your foundation of your retirement needs to be solid. It needs to be able to weather no matter what storm. It doesn't matter whether there's a coronavirus pandemic, whether that there is layoffs, whether that there is stock market debacles. It doesn't matter what it is. Retirement income flooring sets up the concept that you will have a base level of income to take care of your essentials no matter what is going to happen. Now we have to look at what are we going to do to get the rest of that money. Now, I mentioned a moment ago that one of the best things that you can do, well, let me just give you an example. This is the best thing that you can do for Social Security if you're trying to increase that money. Take a look. If you delay taking Social Security, that is going to be one of the best ways that you can increase your income. If you look at Social Security when you are able to take it, that's at the age of 62. If you take it at age 62, you're only going to get about 75% of what you are entitled to if you wait to your full retirement age. Now, full retirement age depends upon the year in which you were born, but it's going to either be 66 or 67 in my particular circumstance. Because of the month that I was born, it's 66 and 10 months. But for every person, it's a little different. Actually, those people born in between, I believe, 1954 and 1960. If you're born after 1960, it's going to be age 67. But the idea is, not to get off on the side there for a moment, if you will wait from 62 until full retirement age, then you will have 100% of what the federal government is saying is available to you for Social Security. So if you wait a little while longer, you can build it up even more. For every year that you wait from age 67 to age 70, it'll build up another 8%. Now, I want to give you a general concept of building money from 62 to age 70. If you look at your income at age 62 and you continue to work, generally speaking, because of inflation and because perhaps you make more money as you get older, I don't know how that works. Sometimes it doesn't work out as well, but you're generally going to get more money over those years from 62 to age 70. If you let the government increases, which you are allowed to have available to you from age 62 to 67, and then from age 67 to age 70, and the increases that are being put into Social Security because you're continuing to work, I've seen some people come close to doubling the money that they have available from age 62 to 67. Now, it's not exact, but if you look at it from the standpoint of, would I rather retire at age 62 with $1,000 or at age 70 with $1,500 or $1,800, that makes a big difference. Am I going to have a little bit more time available at the age of 62 and take time off? Or am I going to wait until age 70 when I'm going to be really concerned about having enough money to pay for food, shelter, and medical care? And when that's more important, I'll have more money if I delay. Now, Social Security is not going to pay for everything. There's about 1 in 5 people in the United States that they rely upon Social Security for 100% of their income. 2 out of 3 people rely upon Social Security for more than 50% of their income. The other people out there, they're looking for other sources to build that income floor. And I want to share with you some ideas on how that you can do that. Here are some other sources that you can keep in mind. Take a look at this. Really, when we look at building that secure income, there are only 2 other types of places that you can put your money into that are going to guarantee that you're going to have money available to you. I guess you could say 3 if you would add in a bank account too, because it's guaranteed as well. But from a standpoint of income, the 2 sources that I see used the most are bonds and annuities. Now, a third source may be a pension if you are lucky enough to have a pension available to you, but most people don't have pensions anymore. But if you're a school teacher and you've got a pension that's available to you, then that's going to be taking care of your essential income needs in itself. Now, since I'm talking about that, I'll mention briefly too that we want to be concerned about inflation. In other words, what a loaf of bread costs today will be different than what it cost 10, 20, or 30 years from now, because costs go up over a period of time. Now, for some teachers, actually, and I know in Texas, there is no cost of living increase that's available for them. So you need to use other sources to put money away for your future so that you're able to have more money toward the future. And you might need more money to take care of those essential payments, that housing, food, and medical care that you will need in the future. So the idea is that you can look at bonds or you can look at annuities. If you're looking at bonds, the idea, let's both get on the same page here and make sure that we understand what we're relating to. With a bond is basically a loan. And when you have a loan, it's going to have some guarantees that are associated with it. Bonds have a guarantee of interest, and they have a guarantee of paying the money back at the end of a certain period of time. More secure bonds are going to be shorter term because they know that that the money is going to be paid back to you sooner. Longer term bonds generally have more risk associated with them. Now, a way that you take the risk out of bonds is look at the guarantee or who is issuing the bond. Corporate bonds always have a question mark because we don't know if the company is going to be in business in the future. When we look at municipalities used to have the same security as the federal government, but they really don't anymore with all the talk that's going on in Congress right now and the states that are having difficulties, and the federal government is being asked to bail out some of the states that are having financial difficulties. And Congress is coming back and saying, well, we can't do that, but you might consider bankruptcy. Well, considering bankruptcy on a bond is horrible. If you are getting interest and principal, that means that you probably won't get one or maybe both of those particular items. However, government bonds are different. United States government bonds are the highest in security that you can have available to you. You remember in the clip just a moment ago, you saw the money press going by. If the federal government runs out of money, what do? They print more of it. They own the printing machine. It's not the best way to do it, but it keeps the economy going, and we'll hope and pray that our leaders make the best decisions. But that's a conversation for another day. Government bonds will have the highest secure assurance of having the money repaid to you. And this is how it works. If you have a 10-year bond, you put money into it, and you're going to be assured to get it back in 10 years. And every 6 months, it's going to pay you an interest rate. That's guaranteed. Now, using government bonds for that type of payment scheme, it really doesn't work as well as it did maybe 10 years ago because the interest rates are so low. I did a quick calculation before the broadcast today, and with interest rates that are less than 1% right now, for you to have $3,000 a month in income, you would have to put $5 million into a 10-year bond to get $3,000 a month. That's why that concept of just living on the interest doesn't work as well as it used to. The concept of using bonds, though, is still useful when we look at a concept called laddering. The idea is that if I know that in a year I'm going to need $40,000, I put $40,000 in that bond, and it's going to mature in a year. I'm going to get my money back, and I'm going to get interest. And if I know that I'm going to need money in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, 20, 30 years, laddering can be done to that degree where you have money that's being put away every single year. Now, it does take a lot of planning, and it does take, in some circumstances, a considerable amount of money. It depends upon what your essential income needs are going to be. But there's one huge unknown that you can't avoid. Do you know what it is? It's longevity. We don't know how long we're going to live. So we can keep putting that money away, but since we don't know how long that we're going to live, then we don't know how much we need to put away or for how long it's going to last. Now, I have a solution for that. But before I go into the solution, I want to describe the usefulness of bonds just a little bit more. Now, I talked about a regular bond where it's paying interest to you. There are two other types of bonds that I think are very useful for building a retirement income floor. One is going to be a zero coupon bond, and this is the way that a zero coupon bond works. Let's say, for example, if I have $900 and I buy a zero coupon bond, and when it matures, it's going to pay me $1,000. Now, I don't know what the mature date is because it depends upon the interest, but let's say that it's 10 years from now. So if I put that $900 in, and I know I'm going to get $1,000 out, along the way, that interest is accruing. And there's two things that are guaranteed. One is I'm going to get the money back, and the interest, I'm going to be guaranteed that I'm going to get 1,000 rather than 900. That's the idea of a zero coupon bond. Now, an important factor to consider with zero coupon bonds is if you are going to pay the taxes on it. Not if, when. When you pay the taxes on it, as you go along, you have to pay taxes. You can't wait until the 10 or 20-year time period to pay it. You have to pay it every single year as it goes along, even though you're not taking that money. Okay, now what happens if interest rates change along the way and you need to cash in a bond? Well, that's where you could have some changes in actually the price, and it may change the amount that you get back. So usually in bond laddering, what we do is we make sure that we program into your schedule how much money that you'll need at certain places. And if you need money for the short term, then we put that into a different bucket. But bucketing is going to be another concept we're going to talk about on another week. Okay, so we've talked about zero coupon bonds. Let's talk about the third type of bond that works really, really well for income flooring, and that's going to be TIPS, or Treasury Inflation Protected Securities. If you are spending money today and you have $30,000 that you need, is that $30,000, if you just put it in a jar and put it on the shelf, is that $30,000 going to be worth $30,000 30 years from now? I think the answer to that would be no, it's not. If you're going to need $30,000 in future money, you need to have it secured for inflation. And that's what TIPS does. Remember the name of it? It's Treasury Inflation Protected Securities. Treasury Inflation Protected Securities guarantee that the money that you use to purchase that particular bond will keep up with inflation in the future. So if you have $30,000 that you're putting money into a TIPS, and 30 years from now, you're going to need $30,000 in future dollars, it's going to be there. Now, let me give you an example. Let me say that inflation is 2.5%. Okay, I'm going to use a neat little rule that'll help you out. If you want to find out how long it'll take money to double, then take the interest rate that's being used and divide it into 72, and that's going to tell you how many years it takes it to double. So coincidentally, if you take 2.5% and you divide it into 72, it comes out to be 30. So if inflation over the next 30 years averaged 2.5%, you would have not 30,000, but you would have 60,000. But it would have the purchasing power of today because of inflation. So that's the way that TIPS works. And there's TIPS that are available. There's certain times that they're available. You have to go directly to the Treasury to get them. I work with clients and I help them to buy them if that's what they're looking for. We schedule the money so that they have money available in certain years, and we buy it from the auction with the Treasury Department. So we've looked at the different ways of building retirement income flooring. And what were they? Number one, it was Social Security. That's going to be the base. But remember, $1,500 a month is not going to be enough to live on. The goal is going to be probably about $3,000. And the way that we build up that extra $1,500 is by working longer. Delaying will increase our Social Security that's available to us. The second way is going to be through different types of bonds and bond laddering. And then the third way, which we are ending with on this section, is going to be with annuities. Now, I know there are some of you that for some reason you hate annuities. I know I've heard the commercial of the guy on TV that says, I hate annuities. But let me tell you what, there is absolutely nothing available in the world that can do the same thing that an annuity does. It will guarantee that no matter how long you live, you will have enough money. It guarantees, it doesn't matter if you're 90, 102, 110, you have enough money to last. It'll continue to pay you from that standpoint. So the biggest problem that retirees are facing is longevity. How long am I going to live? How long am I going to need money? Annuities are the only way to do that. Now, if you don't like annuities and you want to do some of the other ideas of using bond laddering, I think that that's a great idea. I do want to caution you on one particular type of security that probably would not be ideal for retirement income flooring. General mutual funds are very poor for retirement income flooring. The reason is they're not guaranteed. They don't have a guaranteed interest. They don't have a guaranteed window. There's no guarantees that are associated with it. You can even look at government mutual funds, government bond mutual funds. And I have encountered people in past years that think, well, I'm going to buy a government bond mutual fund, so it's going to be assured that it's going to be there. Well, let me tell you what, if interest rates go up, and I would say that from where we are right now, the only place with interest rates in the future is going to be up. If you are in that situation, your bond value is going to go down. And a rule of thumb that I've encountered is that if we see about a 1% change in interest rates up or down, we can see as much as a 10% value of bond mutual funds changing. Now that's changed over the years. Remember, you know the rule about rule of thumbs, they're not accurate all the time. But the concept is that if interest rates go up, bond values are going to go down. You're not going to have as much money. The interest rate can also change because they're constantly putting new money in there. So mutual funds in itself are a poor vehicle to use for retirement income flooring. One of the other ideas that we mentioned today are a lot better. Well, we've kind of come to the end of our broadcast today. We've covered the idea of retirement income flooring. I hope I've been able to give you some ideas that are helpful to you. Remember, if you're listening to this on a rebroadcast, go ahead and enter your questions in and I'll answer them throughout the week. If you're on YouTube, go over to the subscribe channel and subscribe to this and then hit the bell to make sure that you are notified every week. We try to do this broadcast every Tuesday at 11 o'clock, but if we have a technical difficulty like we did today, we did a little bit later. But hopefully you get all your questions answered from me as the week goes by. If you're on Facebook or on Twitter, please enter your questions in there too. I watch that as the week goes by, and I'm happy to help you and to answer your questions. If you'd like to talk to me a little bit further, go to my website at richardsfinancialplanning.com and you can schedule a time where we can have a free conversation about your finances. Thanks a lot, and I hope that you have a wonderful week.